Good evening and welcome to the Rye Terrace Neighborhood Watch meeting. I'm Gloria Kelly, the Neighborhood Watch liaison for the Village of Wellington. Joining me tonight, we have our village manager, Jim Barnes, Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office Deputy Harper, Wellington's Public Information Officer, Liz Nunez, and your Neighborhood Watch captain, Tim Eichner. Thank you all for attending the Neighborhood Watch meeting this evening. As a reminder, all attendees are on listen-only mode and this meeting is being recorded. If you have any questions during this meeting, please submit them in the Q&A icon, which is visible by tapping your screen on your mobile device or hovering your mouse over your screen if using a desktop or laptop. The icon will then appear on the top or the bottom, and we will answer your questions at the conclusion of each of the presentations. At this time, I'd like to introduce our new village manager, Jim Barnes.
Thank you, Gloria. Appreciate and thank everybody for joining us tonight and jumping in, or if you're listening to this after the fact, certainly for taking interest and following up and listening to our archive version of this meeting. Neighborhood watches in general are very important to us. Over the last several years, our teams in our community services department, planning, zoning, and building department, and really a lot of other support departments, whether it be public works or utilities or parks and recreation, try and provide as much information as possible to all the different neighborhoods. And it helps even in neighborhoods where we may not have a formal association, an HOA, a property owner association, or what have you. Having these neighborhood watch groups, in essence, allow us to have a centralized point of contact for us to be able to get information to the community. But just as important, and hopefully, evident to everybody, all the residents in Wellington, and particularly in the individual communities, it's a way for the communities to get direct contact back to us. While everybody certainly has access, having contact specific to your area and your common interests is always helpful. So we value the participation that we get from our neighborhood watch groups and our neighborhood watch committees, value the time that the volunteers put in on behalf of their communities, and we're available. And if it's something that is not an action or not an activity that necessarily Ms. Kelly or Deputy Harper or even Ms. Nunez might be able to address directly, they have access to the entire host of village services and staff to be able to try and address your concerns. So that's really important. And just as a kind of coming attractions type wrap up to give you an idea of what we've got going on. As you might imagine, we've had to deal with a lot of different issues differently because of COVID-19. And so what you might see is really, in some cases where maybe we don't have, as an example, our village hall offices have a little bit different hours than normal because we're limiting, a lot of the public access in the lobby. But that doesn't mean that the village isn't there ready to provide the services necessary. Again, if it's something that you need assistance with, and for some reason the timing doesn't work out where we happen to have the lobby open, we still have the staff here 5 days a week, and simply just reach out to the specific department that you might have a need from, or if all else fails, one of the value added things that having neighborhood watch committees and specific staff assigned to those neighborhood watch committees brings is that you have an ombuds person, if you will, in Ms. Kelly and the staff that works with her in planning, zoning, and building, that you can reach out to them and they can direct you to the right folks and to get you the service you need at the same time. And as always, with any village department and even the manager's office, should you have any questions, concerns, or anything like that, our doors are always open, even virtually or telephonically, that you can always reach out to us. And I know our partners at the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and the Palm Beach County Fire Rescue also share the same philosophy. So we're always available for our residents at any time. Gloria, unless there's any specific questions, I'll sit back and listen, and you can move on to the next topic.
Gloria, you're on mute.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Thank you very much, Jim. Next, we have our Public Information Officer, Liz Nunez, giving a brief presentation.
Thank you, Gloria, and good evening,
Thank you.
everyone. As Gloria mentioned, I am the Public Information Officer for the Village of Wellington. That's kind of a fancy title just to say that I work in the communications department, and my role is to basically communicate to our residents. So I oversee almost all our outreach initiatives, from our website to our social media, to all the things that you might get information from us. So today I want to give you a brief overview of our website. This is one of the best go-to places, our village hall on the web, you can consider it. And I want to take you through some of the ways that you can get information, stay up to date on events and happenings in the village in a very easy way. So I'll share my screen with you so that I can walk you through our website. So for those of you not familiar with our website, it is wellingtonfl.gov. And here, you'll see when you get to the front page, you'll see this rotating banner here. You'll find information about projects, our grants, events, and of course, information about the COVID vaccine and just coronavirus updates in general. So just if you have something here that you see that you are interested in, just go ahead and click on the image and it'll direct you directly to the page where we have the information. Next on our website, you'll notice these buttons. They're very self-explanatory, but I do want to direct your attention to our Wellington TV button. Wellington TV, you can access it through, if you live within Wellington boundaries, you can access it on channel 99 on Comcast and 18 on Comcast and 99 on AT&T Uverse. But if you're, at work or just want to access it through your phone or any mobile device, you can click on this button and you'll be directed directly to our online streaming. This is where we play our council meetings, our board and committee meetings, and we also put highlight videos of some of our community events. So that's a nice way to find out what's going on and get highlights of what's happened if you've been at some of our events. Next is our how do I or how can I section. And I love this section, especially on mobile, because what we've done here is put some of the most popular links that most people go to on our website. So for example, paying for code violations, business licenses, things like that, applying for business tax receipts, grants, finding information about certain topics, reporting a problem, and of course, COVID-19 as well. Next, we have this banner similar to the one we had at the top of the website. And I'm going to come back to this in a second when we talk about our alert notification system. Right next to that is our meetings and events calendars. Gloria is going to talk to you about some of the events we have going on, but this is where you find out the latest information about what's happening coming up here in the village. So I invite you to continue checking that every week as we update that on a weekly basis. Next is our latest information section, and you can see we have all kinds of topics in here, things that we couldn't include in that top banner, but are also very important, such as our aquatics swim meet closure that we have coming up at the aquatics complex, or registration openings and deadlines for different sports leagues. Next is another area of the website that I think is very important and very useful to a lot of our residents. We are very active on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Nextdoor. We're very proud of that because that is one of the easiest ways that we can get information out to our residents in a very quick fashion. But we understand that not all of our residents have access to social media or a smartphone, or even want to be on social media, and that's okay. So we provided this kind of resource here at the bottom. And basically what it lets you do is take a look at our Facebook and our Twitter feeds just by logging onto our website, and you'll get the same information that we're providing for folks that follow us on these social media sites. If you are tech savvy and like social media and like to stay connected with us, I invite you to go all the way to the bottom of our website where you'll see these icons here. Click on one of those and it'll take you to a page that'll show you all of our handles for our social media accounts. Now I'm going to take you back up to the top of the website and talk to you about our alert notification system, which is called Alert Wellington. So there's a couple of ways to find how to sign up for our alert notification system. The easiest one is through our community tab up here. You scroll over community and then you'll hit the alerts banner right there. So Alert Wellington is basically a mass notification system that allows us to provide you with critical information quickly for a variety of situations, such as severe weather, emergency road closures, boil water notices, and maybe even evacuations of neighborhoods. You can choose how you receive these alerts, whether it be by email, text message, a phone call on your cell phone or on your landline, or you could do a combination of all of these. So the easiest way to get signed up is right on this page. Just scroll to the bottom, and all you have to do is input the information that's required here. So it's very easy. If you had, or if you were signed up for our former notification system, which was called Code Red, we do ask that you re-sign up for this system, as all the information, because of security reasons and just because we wanted to make sure we had the latest contact information for our residents, that was not transferred onto this new system. So we ask that you go ahead and re-sign up for this one. But as you can see, it's very simple, just a couple of questions it asks. And this is so, so important. We really want to get as many of our residents signed up as possible, because during an emergency situation, during a hurricane, especially, or even during COVID, this is the easiest way for us to get information to you, where you don't have to go and check on social media. You don't have to check on the website. You can just get that notification right on your phone. So whether it be to sign up for our alerts or just in general to familiarize yourself with our website, I invite you all to take a look, visit our website, and if you have any input for us, we are always open and looking for new ways to connect with our residents. If you know of a way that you'd like for us to connect with you, to share information with you, we would love to hear that. You can always send me an email at communications plural at wellingtonfl.gov, or you could simply just reach out to Gloria and she'll pass along the information to me. Or you can look me up on the website. Again, my name is Liz Nunez. Thank you all. And if you have any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you very much, Liz. Again, if you have any questions, please utilize the little chat button on your screen, and Ms. Nunez would be more than happy to answer any. Okay. Thank you very much. So I just have a few brief announcements before Deputy Harper gives the crime presentation or answers any questions. So let me just share my screen. I invite you all to stop by the Twilight Green Market if you have not already stopped by. The Twilight Green Market is a true community market featuring fresh farm-to-fork produce from farmers and growers, in addition to artists and crafters, fresh baked goods, breads, and pastries, fresh flowers, fruits, and vegetables. The Twilight Green Market takes place on Fridays from 5 p.m. To 9 p.m. until March 26th. If you're looking for something to do after you visit the Twilight Green Market, we invite you to register on Eventbrite for the movie nights that are taking place on the green at the Wellington Amphitheater on Fridays at 7 p.m. You must register through Eventbrite to attend, but these events are free. The movie for this week is A League of Their Own. Please also remember to check our website for COVID updates and updates regarding our movie nights. Join us for Food Trucks in the Park, featuring a rotation of your favorite food trucks at various park locations throughout Wellington. Select locations will feature either 1 or 2 food trucks each week on Thursdays from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Primrose Park, if you haven't noticed, is part of our circuit of food trucks, and you can check out the latest food truck listings on our Wellington website as well. Our Parks and Recreation Department is excited to announce the launch of its new cloud-based recreation management solution, CivicRec. This new system allows you to browse and register for parks and recreation activities, classes, sports, and youth leagues. Please also don't forget to check out the free fitness classes being offered through our virtual recreation center. You can visit wellingtonfl.gov/virtual-rec. Just a note, girls' sports recreation deadlines are approaching. Lastly, Wellington is excited to have launched the 2021 Great Neighborhoods Grant Program this past Monday. This grant is funded by the Village of Wellington and provides a 50-50 match up to $15,000 for eligible homeowners. Please visit wellingtonfl.gov/grants to view the approved project list, applicant eligibility requirements, and frequently asked questions. You will also find the online application portal on this webpage. And as Liz mentioned earlier, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. And I will also be sending out a newsletter at the conclusion of this meeting for everyone that has attended. And please feel free to send that to your neighbors who maybe are not in your neighborhood watch group but are interested in joining. We are always looking for more residents to get involved with our neighborhood watch program and just be a part of knowing what's going on and what things are out there for the residents. So thank you very much. And next we have Deputy Harper with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Good evening to everyone. I first wanted to cover, I believe this is my first Ride Terrace, so I wanted to let you all know that the metrics that I like to cover, usually from whatever date we are to the start of the year, will include home burglaries, vehicle burglaries, and anything else that has more of a neighborhood focus. As I've explained in some of the other meetings, as a result of COVID, we've had a side effect with everybody being at home with a lot of those crimes, those metrics being way, way down. So we're really not getting the effect. Criminals and opportunists do need eyes not being on them to complete the work that they do. So it has been a side effect of COVID where they have not really been able to get started within the neighborhoods. Another concern that has come up recently, along with Ms. Kelly being notified, is some of the issues in the park. So if any of you have noticed any activity there, I did notice some cases where there was some suspicious activity in the parks, and you believe that it's lighting related or something else with the topography of that location that's letting a criminal element settle there, please let us know. We like to visit the site, see what there is that can be done to improve it and make it better for the residents who are within proximity of that area. Also, as I cover in all of the meetings, when you have the suspicious activity, please make sure to alert us here at PBSO. There's training laws that go with preventing the movement of an individual and questioning them as to where they are, where they should be, whether they belong there or not, are best left towards our training and experience. So if there is a behavior that's a bit untoward or seems out of place, record the vehicle, the tag, the individual, which will allow us to more easily approach that person with what it is that they have done in that area, rather than going off of word of mouth, or maybe if you're a little bit too aggressive in doing so. Also, as you are going out purchasing things, or we're getting a lot of things delivered, be cognizant of making sure your vehicles are locked and valuables are placed in an area out of view, or they just don't make an enticing target out of your private property. This is another thing that will assist you in your neighborhood in not being targeted, because we do see in a lot of Wellington areas is if they go there testing door handles and they're successful, the likelihood of them returning at some point is extremely high. So everybody can work together in making sure that they do not have success in the area they're testing, and they'll move on to another location where they're going to maybe get better results. So again, even though you will hear it a lot from us, locking your vehicles, making sure you do not keep any valuables inside, and also just being aware of your surroundings will absolutely deter any activity from the criminal element. It will be a huge difference in your neighborhood and preventing any sort of crimes from taking root there, so you're not normally victimized in any way. But after covering that, I would really hope that there's some questions from anybody in the Ride Terrace, and I believe there's a captain that I have not met yet, so I'm also looking forward to that.
And we do have one chat.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can see that chat. I'll go ahead and read it out for the crowd. Oh, okay. I can. So we have a chat from Mr. Hobbs. When do the new regulations and laws go into effect pertaining to golf carts in residential neighborhoods without HOAs?
Mr. Hobbs, as far as I know, with Mr. Odell's initiative for that particular event, it's still in its infancy. There are a lot of things that he has to maneuver before we can answer that question directly. Right now, you'll see that the construction is underway, but how the registration, how it's going to work for certain neighborhoods will differ. Now, please keep in mind that when it comes to the golf carts, it's not always about the HOA. It's a matter of private property and traffic agreements. So if you do not have an HOA and you have a residential neighborhood, golf carts can currently be used on a course itself, private property. Then there you have your HOAs or your gated communities. or if it's modified to be on the roadway, that would differ. So if you don't have an HOA and you don't have necessarily a formal gated community, the golf cart would be restricted to your personal property or the golf carts. It wouldn't be a regular street usage, unless of course you're using that vehicle to go out on the paths that are currently being constructed. You can actually see that on Big Blue Trace. So that is the circumstance there. Hopefully that answers the question.
And Tim, I do see you on the line. Do you have any updates for your watch group?
Well, I would just say the main thing is just to continue to stay vigilant. And by the way, I'm not being rude. I just can't, I'm locked out, so I can't actually share my screen. So
Oh, here.
I'm
I
not,
apologize. Let me.
I'm not
There we
hiding
go.
on purpose.
No.
But I
Okay,
think
you should be able to now.
all right, thank you.
There you go. You're welcome.
So I would say the main thing is just to continue to stay vigilant in the park, because the whole impetus for starting this group was we had massive problems like 10 years ago, to the point where I was ready to move out. And a few of us got together and started the group. And ever since PBSO arrested a bunch of people in there for trespassing over a 3-month period. And after that, few problems, just little things here and there, and no issues. So I just don't want us to see it. I don't want to see us go back to the way it was. And we've had a lot of new families. We've had a lot of people move out, just retirees or whatever. A lot of new families come in. So we kind of have to get out the word and, get people to be calling people in when they're, when there are people trespassing there at night. I just have something that's maybe unrelated, but I was just curious. It seems like the park isn't maintained quite the way it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if there's been a change in the budget or personnel change or anything, but it just seems like the fencing and stuff that had a lot of mold on it, and just little things like rotting wood pieces of the I don't know what you call them, the trellis kind of things.
Pergola, yeah.
As you walk into the park, and like stucco that's cracked and broken off, and it just like it seems like we used to keep the park better in better shape.
We can take a look at that, Tim. What we'll do is have the Public Works Department. We'll double check to find out what the issue is. That there hasn't been any conscious reduction in any kind of funding for the neighborhood park maintenance over the last several years, and it's unfortunate, but it appears it might just be an issue of staffing and oversight, which we can remedy pretty quickly. So,
and I'm not trying to get anyone in trouble.
No, not an issue. I mean, it happens, and this time in Sherwood Park, it may be another park next time, but we'll double check to make sure. And if it's an oversight, it's one thing. If it just fell off the list and we need to make sure it stays on the list, that's not a problem. But no, we'll make sure and double check, and we'll see what the issues are there.
Okay.
Yep,
One thing, if I could add one thing too, as Deputy Harper was saying, if there's things that you could see that would improve the park and safety and that kind of thing. One thing that we had talked about initially was putting lighting in the area where those 3 or 4 parking spots are, because people tend to park there and make out or whatever they do. And I think if we could, I know it's a cost issue, but at one point I talked to someone about the possibility of tapping into the solar panels that are right there. But if we could have some kind of a light that shines on that parking area, so then people would be less inclined to park there at night.
Right.
I think that would help us out a lot.
Right. No, that's something we could look into, and whether it's an on-demand type of motion sensor activated light, that if somebody's there, then it's going to go off. Otherwise, it doesn't need to be there, because I know sometimes that's the kind of fine line, and we have to walk. If we have lighting permanently throughout the night, then somebody nearby, it's like we've got to worry about overspill and that kind of stuff. But yeah, we can look into that. That's not, and a lot of the parks in some way, shape, or form have some power at them, whether it's for irrigation or something else. that some regular security lighting is not as big a deal as, going in and putting in a whole parking lot full of lights. So we can look into that when we look into the maintenance issues at the park location.
Okay, great.
For sure. Yeah, no, for sure.
All right, and very quickly, Mr. Eichner, I'd like to thank you for bringing that up. Attention to detail. A lot of times, if something seems like it's in disrepair, like you are being attentive to, that can invite an element that you might not want to see there. So you never want to worry about getting somebody in trouble. The benefit of being here in Wellington, I've worked in a lot of environments, is attention to detail. That's what it's all about, which is why we're actually doing what we're doing here now. So you never have to apologize for that. We can always, what I'd like to do is go there and take a look. You can't get any stronger testimonial than somebody who lives near or adjacent to that all day. So you will notice things of that sort. And we'll also keep people aware that it's maintained, so they might go elsewhere to start anything that they might be trying to get into. So it's a very good suggestion. A lot of that is coming up in a lot of the smaller neighborhood parks for lighting. As you see, there's not a lot going on. So some people are discovering these parks, tucking back into them. And of course, we wouldn't want you to end up seeing any nefarious activity in there and before it becomes a problem. And as long as I'm here or anybody else with PBSO is here, we're not going to see a repeat of, as you mentioned, 10 years ago. That definitely won't be happening on any of our watches. Okay, so I appreciate you bringing that up. Also, I see in the chat that somebody has posted about golf cart traffic on Primrose, as well as dirt bikes and go-karts. I would just take just a moment to touch on that comment. I would like to remind everybody that per statute, you can have a device on a walkway if it's under 50 cc's. So you see some of the smaller dirt bikes or golf carts. Again, in particular to the carts, we are being a small bit hands-off. PBSO is considering the time. Some folks are home, some have had a job cut. We definitely don't want to start issuing or being heavy-handed with citations and causing more harm than good. We are also in the horse season, and we're finding out that some people that aren't the season renters, but maybe on the horse property, are telling them they can go anywhere with Wellington and the carts, which is incorrect. So it's been by a case-by-case basis. I do see the update. If they're in the roadway, keep in mind that they are subject to traffic laws as well. So you can always call and report that there's somebody operating a golf cart outside of the parameters, or maybe it's not equipped that way, and let us do the research there. So we're not past doing that. And again, if somebody is being reckless, we're going to find that out. Primrose, again, on that main thoroughfare over from Binks, and we're seeing a lot of the activity with the golf carts around the schools, which is exactly why the paths and the ordinance is being worked on to such a degree. So please keep in mind, Wellington is an extremely unique community, and the fact that not only is it an equestrian center, but in my opinion, it's also a family center. So when you merge those, you have seasonal clientele who are more geared towards the sportsman end of it that might not be paying attention to how their activity affects the family side of it. So when it comes to, and again, I'm sorry, there's certain updates in the chat that are updating. So I'm trying to answer them as it comes up. With the golf carts, as far as the age, right now it has to be at least 14 years of age. And one thing that law enforcement cannot do is decide or try to guess at how old somebody is on the cart. The actual ordinance that Mr. Odell is looking to put into effect, they would have to be at least 16 years of age to operate it, which is the same as how they would get a learner's permit for those golf carts. So if you are seeing a lot of this activity and you don't believe it's within the confines of the law, again, you can snap a photo or just make a call to the non-emergency number, and we will go out and try to make contact with that individual and ascertain the activity, especially if you believe that it's reckless or in any way harmful to anybody who's trying to use a sidewalk normally, whether it be bicycles or any other type of vehicle that isn't to the degree of a golf cart. Hopefully that answers the question for the person in the chat.
Thank you very much, Deputy Harper. At this time, does anyone else have any questions? Oh, just had one more come in.
Let me take a look.
Okay.
criminal is to cut through. Okay. When it's being used as a path through, again, the easiest way to put it is anytime that you take anything and place it into the roadway, whether it be a bicycle or even a golf cart, you are subject to the rules of the roadway. Keep in mind when it comes to the golf carts specifically is, and again, I'm sorry, I'm reading this as, okay, so if it applies to the roadway, then yes, the carts, if they're not set up as a low speed vehicle, then there are issues with that. And I would suggest that you definitely call when you see that behavior and simply let them know that there's somebody with a golf cart in the roadway that is not adhering to the signs, whether it be the stop signs or just how those vehicles are supposed to be used. And then we'll go out on that, especially if you are going by just a photo, so we know exactly who the individual is that's operating it, and we can go on a case by case basis. I think that's the easiest way to solve that issue, is just to let us know when you see it. If you're not familiar with our non-emergency line, you can contact me via the email that Ms. Kelly put in there. It's harperh@pbso.org. The only thing that has me refraining from putting the non-emergency line in this kind of venue is we don't want anybody using it as a more of a general line that is a to dispatch for an acute issue that might need more attention. So if you see there, if you just send that to my email, harperh@pbso.org, I will send you the non-emergency line. The next time you see that activity, you can simply give it a call and request that an officer come out and make contact with that individual. Just remember, certain descriptors are important. Clothing, if the golf cart is customized in any way, what the behavior of the individual was doing, or anything like that, that will help us kind of have a better position when we try to make contact with that person.
Thank you very much. So again, thank you all for joining us this evening for the Rye Terrace Neighborhood Watch meeting. We will be posting this recording on our Neighborhood Watch webpage. So for anyone that happened to miss the meeting, we'll be sharing that with your watch captain. So that could be sent out for anyone to watch the link. And again, if you do have any questions or comments, do not hesitate to reach out to us, or if you're simply just looking for any resources.
Ms. Kelly?
And I
Very
think
quickly.
one other chat just came through.
Yes, it did. I will answer that. When it comes to park rangers, keep in mind that Wellington parks are under the dominion of the Wellington parks and the management there. There are teams specifically for that. If you were talking about a park ranger, you would be talking about a county maintained park. So you'd probably see a ranger at a place like Okehele. So you are actually in the best forum when it comes to the park issues within Wellington. As far as I know, I don't believe that there's any county maintained parks within the village borders. You will have some as far as the locking them from the dusk till dawn ordinance. I believe that's as far as it applies. So if there are issues within the park, as far as Mr. Eichner just brought up, lighting, activity concerns, this particular venue is the best place. If not, Ms. Kelly has also provided her email. If you give us just the particular location of that park, what the issue is that you're seeing, what we like to do is go out there, observe it, and then at that time we can find out what resources need to be allotted to that location to get it to higher quality to where it's better serving the citizens of Wellington. And if that doesn't answer the question, feel free to go ahead in the chat if I missed it, or maybe there was a more specific angle that you were looking for. I'd be glad to answer. Nope, I think that was it. It was just a thank you. You're very welcome. Again, I appreciate very much for chiming in. As I say, this is for you. This is your community. I want to thank Mr. Eichner, the whole panel, Mr. Barnes, Ms. Nunez, Kelly, for doing this. I appreciate the questions. Keep in mind, I know that sometimes with law enforcement, we get a little busy, and when we can't answer those questions of curiosity, I believe that's where some of the disconnect happens with the community. So I highly encourage, if you're curious, just why something happened or why it didn't happen, this is a great time for you to reach out to us so I can explain sometime, as we say, the shop end of the rules that we have to follow. But I'm glad that we could answer most of the golf carts. I have to say the golf cart issue is the rock star of all of the meetings. It usually takes front and center. So I will be definitely looking forward to when that rollout is complete and everybody can get the pamphlets and information and answer all of those questions. I'm very excited for that time.
Thank you all again for joining us, and we look forward to working with all of you in the future through our Neighborhood Watch program. And again, don't hesitate to reach out. All of you have a safe evening.